Welcome to another episode of Bushwick Bears, the anti-drunk driving podcast.
I don't know if it's anti-drunk driving. I think I'm pretty pro-drunk driving.
All right, y'all. We got Michael Rowland on the show. Wait, should I say Mike Rowland then?
This is great.
Okay, Michael Rowland, guys. We're talking DUI.
Let's do it again. Take 5.
No, I think that was pretty good.
I like that.
That was cool.
We
All right,
could
cool.
do another one.
We should
that's
keep all
good.
this in.
Right.
No, that's great.
Let's just run 3 of them and then not edit any of it.
Yeah. This whole I met this girl, beautiful young woman, she was in trouble, and we were talking, and she was like, but she started doing these things where she said real nonchalantly that like, oh yeah, I got 7 bodies.
What?
And I was like,
Yeah.
She meant that she'd had sex with, or that she.
No.
oh no.
Oh, Boris.
So then she started.
I was like, because that sounds like a pretty respectable number to me.
oh, no. So she said that, and I was like, wow, this girl.
Modest, even.
Okay, so now I started paying attention to things because I was just ignoring her. Like most hot girls, I just ignore them when they talk.
Right.
And I was ignoring it, and then I said, that is okay. So I'm going to see and go about the conversation. And she starts going, and she said, yeah, she said, I got 4 girls doing life sentences for me. And I was like,
so they wouldn't turn over on her.
I'm like, okay. I was like, I don't know if I believe that,
Does
but hey, what's not my place?
Does she have face tattoos or
no,
anything?
no, nothing. She weighed 90 pounds.
Yeah. I went to. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, but then she said, and this was like there were kind of people coming and going in a in this situation, and so then I hear her say, straight face to someone, and this is when I was like, okay, I just got to hear every lie this girl's saying. She goes, yeah, I killed 165 people.
Oh, Jesus, that's
Wait.
ridiculous.
No, so she's just a crazy person.
She's just
Yeah.
a crazy person.
She'd be in jail if she was that
I'm
flippant
just saying
about it.
what the greatest serial killer of all time is like at 70 people, I think.
Right.
And
Known.
And this 25-year-old 90-pound girl has killed 165 people. I'm like, I know, like when you kill someone, even I know like hard people that have killed people, military or gang shit. And first of all, they never talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
They don't brag about it. You know what I mean? And I was like, and mind you, how did you find the time to come? And have you ever tried to like even moving a drunk person, just fucking dead weight? How fucking
Jericho.
hard
Well,
that
she's
is?
probably talking like drive-bys.
Don't be
and shit.
insulted by
Yeah.
this.
Uh-oh.
But what's the chance that she was fucking with you?
Oh, none of this was at me.
Like
So-
she wasn't saying this
No,
stuff
she wasn't
to
saying
you?
this to me. I just was listening.
Oh.
Overhearing.
I went to boot camp with this kid. He
Maybe
was
they were
a-
both fucking with you.
He was a Southern California, like, kind of cholo guy, and he had the teardrop tattoos. He had 3
Yeah.
out of each eye. And I was like, straight, I was like, you killed 6 people? He's like, yep. And I was like, I don't believe you. He's like, you'll never fucking know. He's like, what do you think I'm here for? You know, to get away from that shit.
Fucking
He's
A.
like, you know. And I was like, okay, cool. I guess. All right, don't kill me.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
Don't add to your collection.
You know, like I remember. I mean, I asked my grandpa, and I was like, "Come on, Grandpa, tell me about war. How many people have you killed? Tell me." And he just looked at me, and he's like, "No,"
Yeah.
and went about his business.
Yeah.
He's like, "No, he never ever wanted to talk about war."
I did a show with a Palestinian comic this weekend, and she had talked about how it was like her 11th birthday,
Yeah.
the week that they started firing missiles into Baghdad, you know, and she's like, they had to cancel my birthday. I didn't even get any cake or anything, and I was like, I owe you so much cake. I did that shit, like literally, like, and she laughed. She's really cool. She's
Nice.
Yeah, she's a comic, so she gets it. But I mean,
I just love that. I just like it's one of those things, and it's like it's this concept. As I get older, it's like when you're young, you lie to seem like tougher or more important or more interesting.
Yeah.
right.
And then it's like when
Absolutely.
you get older, like for me, it's like I lie the opposite now. I lie to seem softer and to be less
Trying to
interesting.
lie it
I'm like,
down.
no, I ain't never seen that. I've never done that. You know, you're like, oh, that's very interesting.
I just lie to get out of trouble with my wife.
That's what
about
being
it.
married is, just being good at lying.
No, I'm not good at it at all.
Mr. Rowland, Michael
Yes,
Rowland.
Yes.
It took us a while, but we got there.
Yeah.
Welcome to the podcast.
Oh,
Welcome
thank
to-
you.
yeah.
We're doing the thing. We're just talking.
You've never killed anybody,
Have you ever
correct?
killed anyone?
Not that I know of.
Don't tell us if you have.
You're too nice a guy.
You seem like a nice
You're a
guy.
sweet-
I feel like you
Those
don't
are
think
red
like
flags,
maybe.
you
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
Ted
I'm
Bundy
very
was
nice
like
Oh, yeah.
charming.
Yeah.
I'm secretly a murderer. I don't think I have it in me, but
That's exactly what he'd say.
see, you'll never know.
There haven't been any Southern serial killers, have there?
There has to have.
They're too
wait,
polite.
Definitely.
Well, there was
definitely
the Atlanta child
Oh,
murderer,
that-
but they're
that
not.
whole thing?
They're not
Oh.
convinced that that's the actual guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I watched Mindhunter. I saw that.
But yeah,
Dude, the Mindhunter season was great, and then I watched
Yeah.
the documentary on it, and I was like, did they get the right guy? You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
But the season was really good. There's things that don't add up in the case, though.
There's definitely But someone was out there killing kids, and that was in the South.
Yep.
Right,
and that was
yeah,
in
that's
Atlanta.
true. Yeah. Well, it wasn't Michael, though.
It
No.
wasn't me.
No, you weren't even born yet, right? That
No,
was in the
sir.
70s,
No, wait, it might have been like
80s, maybe.
80s.
It was like late
early-
70s, I think,
Yeah,
early
yeah, yeah.
80s, somewhere around there.
I just think it's funny that Mindhunter shit made me think, dude. You know, like pictures weren't on IDs until like the fucking 70s.
Oh, yeah, that's
It would have
true.
been so fucking easy to be a criminal and to like pump an
Dude,
alias.
yeah.
It was way easy. There's a good thing.
To do
This
some
isn't
shit,
really
leave
serial
town.
killers, but there's a good thing that Malcolm Gladwell wrote
Malcolm
wrote
Gladwell.
in like the late 90s about like crime waves and how it was not only easy but also like each gang would like eventually get into modern society because they get enough money to just start businesses.
Oh
and,
yeah,
and that kind of stopped in the 90s where like
interesting.
it was like there were like racial implications because it was a lot of like black gangs at that time that like weren't able to join the way that like Italian gangs could
Right,
or
right, or
Jewish
Irish
gangs or
gangs.
whoever.
That's
Damn.
yeah, but
That
that's
is
like why
interesting.
like every one of our grandpas could like have like secret families.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you'd be like, what? You didn't have a phone.
dude,
They
no.
couldn't call you.
Or
Yeah.
you like listen to old outlaw country and they're like, I made love to a woman in Kansas and when it went south, I just left.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now it's like I saw you tagged in that photo.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
exactly. You just go from
No, that's
city
how
to city.
my homegirl caught her husband cheating on her. She just looked at the Google locations, and he kept going to the girl's house every night.
Oh, damn.
That's how she found out. She just like went on his email.
Everyone's a fucking ace hacker now.
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
it's so funny. It's like, but you know how it is. It's not even that fucking hard.
Right.
We should do a Mindhunter for petty crime.
Mindhunter for petty crimes.
Did you jaywalk?
Well, dude, you know, like
Did you-
I've known people. Have you ever met people? I got arrested for drinking in public one time, and I had to take a fucking adult responsibility class. It was the most ridiculous thing ever because literally it was Memorial Day. I walked to the bodega, and on my walk home, I cracked open the beer and did a shooter and threw it in the trash can. Fucking responsible adult.
That's how you do it.
And I got fucking arrested. The guy I was like, dude, I was like, man, I even said to the cop, I was like, it's Memorial Day. My house I can see my porch.
What
That's
were you
fucked
charged
up.
with?
Yeah.
Public.
Drinking in public. Open
Really?
container. Yeah.
They took
Really?
you into custody for it?
No, he stopped. He did the whole spiel, but
Oh,
he didn't
okay,
actually
yeah.
drive me. No, he put handcuffs on me.
Yeah.
Where the
and
fuck
sat
was
me down.
this?
It was in
Wow.
Arizona.
Oh, okay. I thought this was in New York. I was like, fucking what?
Yeah, and like seriously, and he was on a bicycle too.
What a
And I
prick.
was like, I like literally was like, it's Memorial Day, dude. It's my day.
Arizona's supposed to be free, dog.
Yeah, I was like,
what
it's
the
my
fuck?
day off, bro.
Yeah.
And I'm literally like, you saw the store. Like, look, I was at that convenience store.
Yeah.
I'm going to that porch. I'm fucking 32 years old, or however old I was.
Yeah.
But when I had to take this adult responsibility class, right?
It's like adding insult to injury.
oh,
for
it's the
shit.
worst. There was a fuck. It's like a $300 fine, and then I had to take this 8-hour
And the class costs money too, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And so I'm
Yeah.
sitting in this class, and literally, I'm like, we were in like a big horseshoe, and the counselor was in the middle, and I was at the very end of the horseshoe. And they went by, and it was like, "Why are you here?" And this like 40-year-old woman was like shoplifting. And like shoplifting, there was like 6 of them, and they were like these just seemingly well-to-do women that like stealing lipstick and
Oh,
were
yeah.
getting caught. Another dude was shooting meth in a car. And I was like, I looked at the guy, I was like, how am I in the same class with this? And he looked at me and he goes, it is what it is. He just moved on from me. He didn't talk to me. He was like, counselor. He looked at me and he goes, why are you here? I go, I was drinking a beer on the sidewalk on Memorial Day. And he goes, Sorry, it is what it is. And moved on from me and talked to like everyone else, not even to me.
Well, the law is black and white. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I know. And that's not to say the cop had to be a dick. The cop could have recognized
Yeah, but
nuance.
that's when the law fucking sucks. When it gives no
Right.
leavey for them to be like, all right.
Yeah, well, 'cause, like,
Let's
we're both,
use
we're
some
both
common
fucking
sense.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
They don't
say,
want to make
okay.
it circumstantial. They wanna
maybe
be
if I
no,
like
this
had
is it.
throwing my garbage on the ground and was a dick, but I literally went to a trash can and threw it in the trash can.
What kind of area was it? Was it like
It was a resident. It was like a residential.
like a pretty
area.
nice area?
No, it was like college kid area. so-
Gotcha. So somewhere where presumably the cops are raising money by doing shit
Yeah.
like
Oh
that.
yeah.
exactly.
Absolutely.
They're
There's a
just
whole little
milking you
economy.
for
The person fucking teaching that stupid class, like
yeah, it's a whole thing.
they're they're getting a paycheck from the
Yeah.
government on a steady basis thanks to that.
He's like, yeah, welcome. I get paid per head,
Yeah.
so.
You all share one thing: you lack adult responsibility.
Dude, I'm curious. I mean, these middle-aged women that are so bored that they're just like, I guess I'll steal shit on some like Winona Ryder type stuff.
Yeah.
Right,
You know what
yeah.
I mean?
Me and the guy that were sitting next to me, a guy I had never seen before. During that, so we broke for lunch. It was 8 hours.
Yeah, yeah.
They gave us an hour lunch, and it was right in downtown. And I look at the guy next to me, and I go, I don't know about you, but I need a beer and 2 shots. And he goes, I'm with you. So we literally went to the bar. We ended up having like 4 or 5 shots. Came back pretty housed.
Dude, I bet in general people like meet people and fuck in those classes.
Yeah.
Oh, I
right?
bet
Like that feels like
Oh.
it feels like a party kind of crew. And I
Yeah, that's like a
It is. It's people that
pickup.
don't make good adult responses.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's a pickup
I see.
spot for sure.
Um,
You like to have. I don't. Last time I hung out with you it was a while ago because of the pandemic.
Uh-huh.
You like to have a drink or two. Is
I
that still
do.
the case?
No, I'm taking a drinking break.
Good
how,
for you.
How long
good
are you
for
sober?
I'm coming up on 6 months around like the 20.
Wow, good for you.
Hey, congrats.
Yeah.
pretty solid.
It
Cheers,
was
man.
my roommates were getting sort of sick of my coming home
Oh.
drunk and just falling asleep on the couch, and it was I got like sleep apnea, so it was like getting to the point where it was really fucking up my sleep, and I was
bet.
waking up super
Screaming and kicking
Yeah,
the
just like-
wall and shit.
Right. Yeah.
just like every night, and is not. I don't have a great relationship with alcohol, so I was trying to step up.
Gotcha.
Has your
gotcha.
sleep apnea gone away since you stopped drinking?
Yeah, and I also
Wow.
read this article where it's about being a mouth breather versus a nose breather, and you can actually train yourself to start breathing through your nose in your sleep by doing things like exercising and focusing on breathing through your nose, and then taping your mouth shut at night. So I literally started
You saved
doing
the
that.
best part, really,
I
for
know,
last
it's
day.
insane.
You train, blah blah blah. You tape your mouth
Tape your
shut.
fucking mouth shut, and that's what I've been like. I've been taping my mouth shut and running and breathing through my nose so
Is
I
it
can
working?
get shithoused one day again.
Well, thank you for taking tape off of your mouth to do this podcast.
I like
Yeah.
that. There's a training montage of you out there training to get shit housed
love
with
it.
like
You're
tape over your mouth, like
Tape over your mouth, doing
extreme.
push-ups with like a picture of a Budweiser.
Right.
That's what
Like
it is, dog.
bandana on the whole 9 yards.
Dude, so like, have you ever been in any legal trouble because
Yeah.
of alcohol?
Yeah. Which is what I've come to talk about today is my DUI.
As these leading
Ooh.
questions
Yeah.
imply.
I know.
Ooh.
Wait, did you
So-
get the DUI 6 months ago?
No, I got the.
Oh, okay.
Well, I stopped drinking after I got the DUI. I stopped drinking for a year after I got this DUI. But
Yeah.
this must have been when I was like, I forget now, man. I might have been 25, 26,
Yeah.
something like that. I think 26, 27. And I was still living in Atlanta at the time. I was doing a lot of comedy and I was drinking a lot. And it's pretty hard
Sounds great.
to get a
Yeah.
DUI in Atlanta. Yeah, I was having a great time.
Yeah.
I was getting a little too comfortable drinking and driving, and then I remember I was at the Laughing Skull Lounge in Atlanta, and I started drinking. I met this homeless guy who said he wanted to be in the Seabees in the Navy,
Oh no.
and I was already kind of drunk. I was like, my dad was a Seabee. Get your ass in here and get a drink. So I bring this homeless guy in the bar, and we start getting fucking tanked. Like, I'm buying shots and tall boys, and he's just like, he's got like his cart with American flags on it. He's like, I don't know what's happening. I was like,
I'll
you're
be
drinking
honest.
for free tonight, buddy.
That sounds great. You've already justified the DUI to me.
Just wait, because it's bad. So I do that, and eventually I hit a point where I'm like, I gotta go home. I feel bad. And I leave the homeless guy in the bar with like just like a row of drinks. I'm like, have fun, man. I'll see you later. So I'm
Don't die tonight.
Yeah.
So I'm driving back, and I decide to stop at Taco Bell. I stop at Taco Bell. I get a text from the manager of the bar that says, you are banned from the bar. I was
Oh,
like,
no.
why? They were like, you brought a homeless man in here, got him drunk, and then left him in here with a bunch of drinks. And I was like, I'm so sorry. He's my buddy, Andrew Markle, who's actually a great comedian that lives in Atlanta still. And I realized that you remind me of him. That's why you look somewhat familiar. But that all smoothed out later. But I get my Taco Bell, and then I black out. And I wake up, and I'm trying to accelerate my car, and it's not going. And I open my eyes, and there's a pole in front of me that I keep trying to accelerate into, and a cop banging on my window going, "Stop, fucking stop." And it was at this point I realized I really fucked up. And, obviously I get out of the car, puts me in the back. And what had happened, I found out later, was I had gotten my Taco Bell and eaten some of it and parked my car and fallen asleep with it. And then this officer came up and knocked on my window, and apparently I woke up and I saw him, and I drove away.
Oh, no.
So I drove away, but apparently I drove away very slowly. So the cop pursued me at like a 15 mile an hour to 10 mile an hour chase down the street. And at one point I crossed over 2 lanes of traffic. We can laugh now, but I really fucked up. I mean, it was bad. This is why I stopped drinking for a year after. I crossed over 2 lanes of traffic. I very slowly drove up on the curb.
Yeah.
And then I hit that pole, and that's what's so scary about drinking and driving. My first instinct upon waking up with my eyes closed was like, my car's not going. I should hit the gas pedal more. You know what I mean? Like, it could have been a person that I was
right
stuck. Like, so that was scary. So, the cops processing me, and I'm in the back. I'm hammered, and I'm just like, "Where you from, man?" And he was like, "Alabama." And I'm so drunk, I was like, "You're gonna arrest me, my city? You're not even, like, you're not even from here. You're gonna arrest me in my city, dude?" And he ended up being cool after that, and he was a nice guy, and he drove me to Fulton County Jail, where I got put in holding. I was in holding. It was like fucking, 1 or 2 a.m. And holding in Atlanta it's like you go in and there's this girl in the tank and she's just fucking screaming her head off like, "I shouldn't be in here. I shouldn't be in here."
I mean, that's every holding.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
Just fucked up. And then I go and sit. And I remember making this conscious choice where it was like you could see the dudes that were there for the DUI.
Yeah,
And
right.
you could see the the hardened individuals, and I was like, I'm not sitting with those DUI pussies. I'm gonna go sit with all the homeless guys that they brought in for the night. So I was.
Well, you're a part of their community. You brought one of their.
That's why you're there.
Word had spread by then. They welcomed you with open arms.
They
It's
were all
him.
like, "Roland, what's up, dog? We heard about you."
Yeah, here I go. Dude, we heard about what you did for our friend.
Slick Jimmy told us it came through the Hobo Network real quick.
Real quick. So I'm fucking in there, like, at least for the first couple hours, I'm just, like, in and out of sleep, trying to look, like, tough and shit. And then after that, I sobered up a little bit. I'm still sitting with all those dudes. They have a TV on. You just end up watching 2.5 Men for, like, 4 hours.
Yeah.
And then I do remember this distinctly. I was sitting between 2 homeless dudes, and they were handing out bologna sandwiches. And they did, like, a deal over me. And this guy hands his bologna sandwiches to this guy, and this guy takes his sock off, which to this day is one of the worst things I've ever smelled. I still remember it vividly. Pulls out like a little crack rock and then gives it to that dude across me. So it's a bologna sandwich crack deal. And
Oh my God.
Wow.
some hours later, my mom came and bailed me out, and I fucking cried in her car like a pussy.
Was she,
no,
was she, was she like pissed off at you? Was she like?
No, because I think she saw I was very mad at myself just because I realized,
Yeah,
how
you fucked
badly
up.
it could have been.
Yeah.
Like if
Right,
I had
yeah,
really
you
hurt
could've-
somebody.
Yeah.
And I was very remorseful. And my mom's a sweet lady. She wasn't trying to be like, "You fucking idiot." She was like, "Yeah, you fucked up. Hey, let's go get some fucking food. You look bad." You know what I mean? She was.
No,
kinda
I
nice
don't.
about
That's
it.
why I'm asking. I've never had a person in my life like that. It's always been, "You fucked up, you fucking loser. I don't care how bad you feel. I'm gonna make you feel worse."
I
That
remember
wasn't-
being
it's
a
not my
kid.
mom.
I was a kid, and I was fucking around, and they took me to adult jail.
Ooh.
And they couldn't, because I was like 14 or 15, and
But you were bigger than I am.
I was bigger
assume.
than you were, yeah. And I had just gotten the shit kicked out of me by the cop, right?
Oh shit.
And so I was kind of fucked up from getting beat up by the cop, and so I could tell like the boss cop was like, "What the fuck are we gonna do?" He's like you fucking idiot to the other guy. You know, they were like arguing, and so they couldn't put me in the pod or the holding, right? Because I was a kid, but I was just in regular. And so they put me on one of the benches. They handcuffed me to one of the benches in the main office. So like there were detectives doing work, and I'm just sitting there like, and I'm fucking terrified. I just got my ass whooped by a grown ass man for no reason.
Why did he kick your ass?
It's just a thing with cops, right? It's funny to me. It's not that shocking. I didn't say shit, and he just started laying into me. And even like his partner was like, "Dude, cut it out."
Hey, stop that.
No, he's like,
Hey,
"Dude,
quit."
when
He did that last time.
he threw me in the back of the car, and he was like, "Dude, he's just a fucking kid." Like
Yeah.
that's what the other cop said to this cop. So
Oh,
that's,
jeez.
that's the kind of beating I took, right?
Yeah.
That was the good cop.
Yeah, yeah.
The one that gently.
Yeah, that was being a good cop. Wish he was better.
But I remember, so they finally, you know, like I lived with my dad for like a little brief period in my life. My dad was just a big gnarly dude, and my dad came and picked me up, filled out the paperwork, and same thing. I was crying. I was so fucking terrified.
Yeah.
And I was like literally like 14 or 15. I don't remember, freshman in high school.
Yeah.
And I'd only been living with my dad for a minute, and we sit in his car. He doesn't say a fucking word to me. The second I put on my seatbelt, the second we drive out of the parking lot of the police station, he just punches me in the face.
Damn.
He fucking punches me in the face.
No.
And I was just like,
I'm sorry, man.
I'm just in there crying, and they're not. And all he said was like, "You fucking idiot." And that was it. And it was like a half an hour drive. Well, it was a 20-minute drive, just in silence, no radio, just me crying and him like so pissed off at me.
I'm sorry.
And look where that led to.
I was gonna say not for nothing. You turned out great.
All things.
I'm very grateful. My mom is like a sweet lady about it. She really was. Obviously, she was mad, but she.
But
Right.
also,
She
that's
was
probably a
more disappointed,
reflection that
man.
she could tell maybe that you were learning
That
the
you were
lesson.
learning, yeah.
I had definitely learned the lesson.
Yeah.
The lesson was learned pretty.
That's the crazy thing about. I mean, I don't know if you had this because maybe you had that experience before, but like moving to New York as an adult, right?
Yeah.
I had a whole set of skills that apply to like everywhere else in the country, just don't apply to New York. Like I'm good at driving drunk.
Sure.
I was super good at driving drunk. I've lost that skill now. 10 years in New York, I don't drive drunk anymore.
I mean, I suppose that's probably a good thing.
Apparently, it's pretty hard to get a DUI here. That's
I
what I've heard
had a
from the
buddy.
locals.
We got pulled over right by the Holland Tunnel, and he got a DUI.
Oh, okay.
Are we on the
Good to
Jersey
hear.
side or the New York side?
You know what?
That's a
I'll
good
be
question.
honest. I think it was the New York, but I'm not that confident. This was like, I don't know, 15 years ago or something.
Yeah, you gotta like really swerve all over because most of the time, like, I mean, a lot of things that I don't drink. I haven't drank in years.
Yeah.
But the way I drive pretty aggressive because you have to around
Yeah,
the
yeah,
city.
that's
so it's
part of
like,
it.
no fucking blinkers. You just fucking you're
right?
where you
Yeah,
need to
yeah.
get.
I got pulled over with a guy who is a cop, who was like a friend of a friend at a wedding, and we were all pretty drunk. This is also like maybe around the same time, and he was swerving going into the New York, into the tunnel, got pulled over. The cop was like screaming at him like, fucking, I don't want to see like a fucking PPA card. I don't give a shit, blah, blah, blah. Gives him his papers. The cop comes back, says, have a nice day. And
God
Yeah.
damn.
One of the perks of the job, I guess.
The
I
thin
guess.
blue line.
And you get to beat the
do
shit
not
out of
and you get to
cross
beat
it.
the shit
Yeah.
out of kids.
that
Where was
dude,
this? What state did you get the shit beat out of you?
That was in Arizona.
That was Arizona, man.
Yeah.
God damn.
Fucking
It's the heat.
DUIs. But that thing is back in the day, and this is all years ago too. You know, like so. But like back in the day, if my car was registered, I had insurance, and I was sober, I didn't give a fuck about traffic laws.
Yeah.
What, a ticket? I don't give
Yeah.
a fuck. I'm gonna go but when I was drunk,
Everything.
I was a law-abiding citizen. I did everything
yeah.
exactly by the
I will
book.
say, to get a DUI in Atlanta, I had to hit a pole. I had to
Right,
I had to run
right.
from the police and hit a pole because it's like, I don't want to say it's part of the culture there, but I don't
It's
know.
part of the culture everywhere except for New
It
York.
was
True.
what we would do. We would go to, we go get shit canned and do comedy and then take
Right.
our asses home.
They didn't really start cracking down, it seems like, on DUIs until like Reagan. Like it used to be like my
oh yeah,
I would
like-
say even Clinton.
no, well I remember like
you
as
should be a cop would like escort you home.
Yeah, or follow me.
Right,
I'll
right.
drive.
I don't know.
Just follow me.
no,
and go
it's
home.
true. Yeah. I mean, like my grandpa when he was, he was an adult, but he was like younger. He was like in his 40s or whatever. Got tanked and crashed his Cadillac into a tree, and they're just like, "All right, have it towed,"
Yeah.
sort of thing. It's like we don't give a fuck.
Dude, my grandpa, we used to do that. He was an alcoholic, and he apparently his rock bottom was when he drove his car into his house and knocked my grandma off a couch and broke her arm.
Oh my
Holy
god!
shit.
And the
Wow.
cops were like, "Hey, you need help." Like that was.
Yeah.
that was they don't arrest you. They're just like, "Hey, get it
like
together,
they could,
man."
well, they could like there was it was things. Well, in Tucson, Arizona, especially because it's a big college town, it's a huge revenue source.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
they
yeah,
set
yeah.
up like checkpoints, which I guess are, that's unconstitutional to make every single person go through. And but like every single person I know almost has a DUI. I don't.
That's how my boy got one in L.A.
Yeah.
We were on our way to
At a
a
checkpoint?
show. Yeah. We saw the checkpoint going that way, and I wasn't drinking at the time. And then he got a little lit, and he was like, "I'll drive." And then we, like idiots, just drove back through the checkpoint.
Oh no!
Cop asked for his ID. He hands him his debit card, and I was like, "It's over."
We're
And I had to
done.
watch him get put in a fucking van and be
Oh,
like, "Can I just
man.
drive this car
Oh
home?"
jeez!
I have a friend, one of my very nearest and dearest friends. He's sober now. He's like almost the same amount of time as Derek. So, they like I always remember that because it's like the same date. He's been sober for years. But he
got yelled at on my birthday too.
But he had like the 9 lives of DUIs of escaping DUIs.
Man,
Like
yeah.
he got pulled over so many times, and then like literally like out of a movie, a guy was like, all cars, and he goes, "It's your lucky day," and had to drive off. That actually happened to him. But, like,
Wow.
so many things, and he missed, and thankfully he's sober now. But there were so many times, me and him together, just like
I got a buddy like
we
that.
shouldn't be driving.
My buddy Clark he got pulled over once, hammered. I mean, me and Clark used to go in together, and then the cop was like, "All right, I'm going to give you a breathalyzer test." Well, first he gives him a physical test where he passes all the tests. You know what I mean? And then he's like, "I'm going to breathalyze you." He's like, "Officer, I prefer not to do that. I've had one of those malfunction on me before." And the officer thinks about it. He goes, "Okay." And then he
Well, because you're
fucking
allowed to
lets
turn
him
it
go.
down, right?
Yeah, but I guess
Yeah, but they'll
in Atlanta,
yeah. I'll tell you.
Atlanta, I think they're big, but it's like, yeah, and then the other option is going in for a blood test.
Yeah, and you
so
hope
I
by
assume
then.
the cop was like, "I don't want to fucking take this kid in for a fucking blood test."
Yeah.
Well, and now, in some states, all the motorcycle cops have a blood test in the motorcycle,
Oh shit!
and they just
Wow.
do it right there. But and I don't know, it's like I said, it varies from state to state. But in Virginia, I know because this happened to my dear friend. If you deny the breathalyzer, automatic year suspension of license.
Yeah, I've
So
Oh,
you don't
heard that
technically
before
have a
too,
DUI,
yeah.
but you don't have a driver's license for a
yeah,
year.
wow.
Right.
I turned down the DUI when I hit that pole. I was like, nah.
Oh, you mean the breathalyzer?
I turned down the breathalyzer. What did
okay.
I say? DUI?
Yeah.
Fuck.
I because I would
only.
love to just. I won't take the
I don't
DUI.
need-
No thanks.
He's like, "Oh, well."
When I was a kid, it was always the scariest moments because like I'm also been sober for a little while,
Mhm.
and so you do a lot of you think about all the shit that you maybe never thought about. But I think about so many times like when I was like in my 20 years ago when I'd like wake up and be like, okay, where the fuck am I?
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, I'm at home. That's good. And you're like, oh fuck, there's someone here. And you like look under the covers and you're like, oh please don't be the ex. Please don't be the ex. And you're like, I don't know this girl, but she's sleeping in my bed. And you're like, oh fuck. And you're like, oh, at least I didn't drive home. And then you go outside and your car's in the parking spot. And you're like, no, God damn it! You
And she wakes
idiot.
up and she's like, "I killed 165 people."
The world's greatest assassin.
You know Dusty Slay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we started out together and we used to drink all the time. We both
He's
lived down.
sober now too, right?
He's sober. He's been sober. Yeah, he's been sober for years now. But we used to do this thing where we'd be like, "All right, I'll be the designated driver tonight," and you can drink or whatever. And we trade off, and then what end up having, we get to the spot and be like, oh, we're just both gonna drink.
Yep. Yep.
You try
of
to.
those.
You know what was? It's really fun in hindsight, but it's like such a terrible thing.
It's really one of those things where if it doesn't end in disaster and you get away with it,
Yeah.
it's hard to learn your lesson.
It is.
It is because you're like, oh yeah, I'm fine. But they're like, do you remember when they started putting in bars the little breathalyzer? You put like a quarter in.
Oh
And
yeah.
that- And I just remember me and like some of my fucking old school homies would just be like, it'd be like, okay, let's see who can get the highest.
Right,
They sell
yeah.
them too. I know people have them. We used to use them.
Pocket
for the
one.
parties,
They
right?
used to do parties at Rutgers
Yeah.
where they would have breathalyzer parties and you'd have to blow
I
something
love it.
to get in.
I've never had to breathe into one of those things, thank God. I mean, like, how much did your DUI cost you between like lawyers and court fees and stuff like that? Because I got
At
buddy,
least
he
5
said,
G's.
Yeah, like
it's
at least.
usually it's between like 5 and
5
10.
and 10.
Yeah.
And I started to rationalize it after my buddy told me his count, and I was like, you know what? Even if a cab were $10,000 to get from this bar home, I should take it.
Yeah, it's
Because
it's
the stigma of the DUI. Like we had people. I worked at a nice place, a nice hotel, and we had people got DUIs that got like let go.
Yeah.
you can't go to
basically.
Canada.
Oh,
you have a
yeah.
DUI.
Oh, no shit.
I can't.
What-
I couldn't work for TaskRabbit when I first moved here.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah,
Because of the DUI.
Because they do a background.
Wow.
Oh,
check.
they do a background check. Can you
Dude,
go to
that's-
Canada?
I haven't tried yet, but it might be difficult. I don't know. I don't know how long it has to be since the DUI.
I'm
happened.
not sure that, but yeah, definitely. I had a friend go get stopped at the border and sent back.
You
Wow.
gotta be able
Because of
to
DUI.
like for like a DUI. It seems like it seems like you should be able to if you're gonna go to Canada. Like if you have to go perform at a club somewhere, there's a whole
Yeah.
club circuit up there. It's like
Get a work.
Well,
permit maybe
yeah,
or
be
something.
like, hey, it's been 5 years. Like this person's seen a counselor. Like they paid their debt to fucking society somewhat. Like fuck off, Canada.
yeah.
Like I mean,
dude. Yeah, and
it's not a real felony, and I even think that like really like other than like murder or rape, all the rest of them don't really fucking matter.
We should offer them vaccines in exchange for letting our DUIs in.
Are they have a vaccine
Canada?
shortage up
Yeah,
there?
it's
they
fucked
do.
over there.
Come on.
We
Oh,
got
you
pretty
go?
good in New York. Out of all the things that have been fucked up with everything, like compared to everywhere I've heard, we're like
Yeah.
we got a pretty good.
Alex Jones says we'll be dead in 10 years if we got the vaccine.
You know,
Oh.
him and
I'm also
AOC.
41 and fat. I was an alcoholic for 25 years.
So
I've
Par
done
for the
other
course.
things that said I'd be dead soon after doing them.
You know, my very favorite DUI story, and everyone has good ones, especially like if you have any sort of relationship with like your grandpa or your uncles, because
Yeah,
it would
yeah.
like wasn't even like illegal back then. But my favorite DUI story is George Jones, the country singer.
oh, yeah.
Mhm.
You know him? Like, you know George Jones? He
I
had
do
a
not.
bunch of huge hits in the 60s. And he like White Lightning, and he stopped loving her today. Like, he's a huge hit. If you saw his, but he was married to Tammy Tucker, who was also a country singer.
Oh, cool.
That
at the
sounds
time.
familiar. I think.
Yeah, they were married, and George Jones, notorious alcoholic, bad drunk apparently.
Mhm.
He's still alive, I think. But one day, he was wasted, and he wanted to go to town to get more booze to continue. And Tammy Tucker was like, absolutely not, and stole his keys. And he said, "Fuck you, fuck this," and he got on his big tractor because they had a farm and drove his tractor into town and got a DUI on the tractor. I guess he was like on the highway. Fucking George Jones. If you see him, he's very like a odd-looking, unique-looking guy.
Yeah.
And I'm sure in whatever town he lived, everyone knew him because he's famous.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
But it's
absolutely.
like, I'm sure like some sheriff was like, "George, pull over. You're
Yeah.
on the freeway
Like,
on a
fuck you.
tractor."
Fuck you.
I just love that move too, where it's like, "Nah, bitch, I'm fucking going to town."
Yeah.
But if it was Charlie Pride, he would have been killed.
I mean, that's the word.
I will.
I love that really deep. Charlie Pride was black,
Oh.
and in
Yeah.
the 70s, he was like the black
he a
country
country
singer.
guy?
Yeah, he was the
Oh,
country
cool.
guy.
He was
He
Yeah,
was
yeah,
like
yeah.
I'm
their
getting more into
Lil
country.
Nas
I should
X.
check him out.
Yeah, he was like the only one in the
You
70s.
didn't
Getting
grow-
really
you didn't
into
grow up-
Waylon Jennings.
Oh, so
No,
you
I-
grew up doing
I
country?
grew up in Atlanta, so I grew up like
Rap.
my parents. Yeah, it was like a
Yeah.
lot of rap. My parents like Motown and like Creedence Clearwater Revival, Allman Brothers, stuff
Yeah,
like that.
gotcha,
So
yeah,
Southern
yeah.
rock,
All
it's
good
like
stuff.
Stannard and shit like that. But
Yeah.
never. Now that I'm older, I'm starting to really like. Waylon Jennings is the fucking man.
He's
dude.
been all that outlaw country is so
Yeah.
good. I spent a bunch of the summer on a horse ranch this year,
Uh-huh.
And like all those dudes, like seriously, they all listen to country all the time.
Yeah.
Even the kids, like the guy who was like the caretaker for the property, his kids, which I would assume like every kid just listens to hip hop these days. It's like what's popular. And we were all hanging out, and someone put on hip hop, and like we were taking turns being DJ, and the kids were like, as soon as it was their turn, put back on like Merle Haggard.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's having a resurgence right now.
Yeah,
Country,
yeah,
for
for sure. Yeah, you see here, I got a bad impression of DUIs because of how I grew up, but
I thought
then
you were
also
going to say country music.
no. But then also, the most pertinent DUI pop culture I recall was Gordon Bombay got pulled over, and then the cop was like, breath, blood, or urine. He's like, I've had enough. And then he went on to coach the Mighty Ducks to the championship. And so you think like, oh, a DUI can end good. Like you just get put in charge of a youth hockey team.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And it's like, no, your life is fucked.
And then he drove didn't he drive his limo out onto the ice? And
Yeah.
everybody was
Oh,
like,
yeah,
whoa, whoa,
yeah,
whoa,
yeah.
whoa. And he was like, don't worry about it.
Yeah. I'm Gordon fucking Bombay.
I know good ice when I see it.
Gordon Bombay. What a great movie. I was hanging with a bunch of homies, and we're like, it was like, you know, during pandemic, so we're just at the house, and so we're like, oh yeah, let's watch a movie. It's like, and my friend whose house was like, pick a genre. And one of my other friends just, without skipping a beat, goes, youth sports movie. Like, what a good genre, because you can really name like 10
pretty good,
badass youth sports
Mighty
movies.
Giants, Big Green.
Ladybug.
Remember the
Yeah.
Titans?
Oh, what's that one with Keanu Reeves?
Hardball.
Hardball, yeah.
Is that right?
Rookie of the
I think
Year.
so.
That's a
Rookie
good
of the
one.
Year.
Yeah. Angels
Yeah.
in
Great
the
one.
outfield.
Funky butt loving.
Yeah.
What a great
Bad
genre
News
of movie.
Bears.
Oh,
Bad News Bears.
great. It is
One
a great
one through
genre.
Great
five.
genre.
Yeah.
And it's an Italian guy, like he's from Italy, and he just is like, he has a thick accent. He's been here for like 20 years.
It was Tony Danza.
you know,
Angels in the outfield.
I just roll with Tony Danza. Yeah, he's just like, hey, anybody want to watch Who's the Boss? Well, dude, this has been great. Dude,
Yeah.
thanks for sharing your story with us.
I hope we didn't glorify alcohol too much.
You know, I actually want to say this because I've mentioned this before, but like, it's not good. It's obviously not good. Nobody would say it's good. But I think that people who are either grew up in New York or like have been here for a long time forget how easy it is to do bad when you don't have like very obvious conveniences in front of you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's a level of judgment that almost it's just like you're not getting tested like that.
Yeah,
and
you
you
don't
might
know.
not pass those tests
On a regular.
if you
Because you
didn't have
see
the
people
subway.
shit canned out here. Just like, I guess I'll get on a fucking subway.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
no,
that's not good either. I've fallen asleep on the subway. I had my phone stolen once, like right
Yeah.
out of my pocket, because I fell asleep going to Park Slope and woke up in fucking Coney Island.
But it's like when you're drunk and you just want a basic convenience, like, I need some fucking food. It's like some places it's like, we're driving or we're just,
Right.
we're going to have to bed that
there's
hunger
I mean
down.
there's
Yeah.
even
Totally.
been times, and it never happened out here, but like in other cities where you're like, okay, I'm too drunk to drive. Oh, excuse me, sorry. Speaking, you're like, I'm too drunk to drive. Like, let me get a cab or an Uber, and there are none.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're like,
Yeah.
am I sleeping in my car or what am I doing?
I was just in Mobile, Alabama, and like 3 days ago, I get off the plane. I was like, let me call a Lyft, and it was just like at the airport, there's no lifts in the air. It took like an hour for
Yeah,
somebody. And
yeah.
it was so funny. The dude comes to pick me up. He goes, man, I just got out of the gun store. Turn on my phone. Boop, I got a ride. I say, woo! I was like, what
Mobile,
is your
Alabama.
story,
Yeah.
brother? It was like, if I wanted material out of Mobile, it gave it to me like
Right away.
immediately.
Really?
Wait, what was the punitive measures they took against you? Did you have probation? Did you go to community service?
So because the cop didn't take
I'm just
my
curious.
ID, he forgot to take my ID at the time. The lawyer was like, just hold on to that. You're good. You can just keep driving with that. Since they didn't take it, I was like, word. But then
Oh.
it got pushed into the system. It took about a year to charge. By the time I did get charged, I had done all the stuff that would be required of me if I got charged.
Yeah.
And 40 hours of community service. You have to consult a substance abuse counselor. You have to go to DUI school.
They teach you how to do DUIs.
Yeah, doing better.
That's how you're supposed to do it better.
And
You sucked
have
at that, bro.
to-
We'll teach you.
And it was right by the DUI school was right by. No, never mind. And then
Star Bar.
fucking, you had to. What was the last thing? Oh, come on, man! It was.
I mean, I know
were
it's
you
pay a
on the
lot of
communities?
fees.
Oh, I had to go to Mothers Against Drunk Driving, and then once I got charged, I couldn't drive outside of the state for a certain number of months. So I remember I had like a gig in Alabama to open for Bruce, so I had to take a bus, and then my girlfriend drove out and like drove me back.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
yeah.
But that was the extent of it.
I mean, it puts a real hamper on things if you don't live in New York or you
Yeah.
gotta
Yeah.
travel outside of it for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's like we were saying. Those 4 like micro economies.
Oh
that
yeah,
are all
Oh yeah.
regimented by the DUI happening. Those are 4 people who have jobs
Mm-hmm.
that might not have those jobs if it wasn't for servicing DUIs.
Oh, I had to go to 10 AA meetings also.
Ooh, that's fun, huh?
Oh man, I've
am
never been doing.
constitutionally incapable.
Yeah, it was it was a bunch of stuff.
I mean, I guess like the punishment for all this stuff is supposed to be the main deterrent as to why you don't do
Yeah.
it,
Yeah,
and you never really, nobody ever considers I'm going to get into an accident. And also too, it's like, and not that I'm saying I'm advocating for the police state or checkpoints or whatever, but it's like I haven't looked. I should have done some research for once. I want to look at like DUIs versus non-DUIs and stuff like that, and how much of a problem it is versus how much it costs.
Yeah.
Because it's like at a certain point, certain things are just for the state to
The
get
revenue,
money.
yeah.
but DUIs
Yeah.
are one of those things, especially in my case, where it's like it's dangerous, man. You can
Oh,
really
for
fuck
sure.
somebody
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
So definitely not advocating.
Well, I want to
Make sure you distance yourself from me. Roland's not. He is not pro DUI. He
Well,
is
why
not-
do you give it a rating and see where your head's at since you're on it right now?
I mean, as a crime to do, 0 out of 5. I want to be able to drive whenever. But like, I mean, it's one of those things where I'm very conflicted. It's like I would like to see if somebody's drunk on the road. I've been almost hit by somebody swerving around.
Oh,
or
dude,
whatever.
I have
Yeah.
been. I've been clipped by somebody that just
Yeah.
ran a fucking red light.
And you can kill a fucking family or whoever,
Yeah.
and it fucking sucks. So it's like, I don't want that person on the road. It just sucks that we don't have what seems to be the, like, I wonder how many DUIs happened in Japan, right? Because it seems like they're all considerate enough of each other that they wouldn't get behind the wheel of a car. Like we just don't have we don't have the society that supports giving a fuck about one another
Yeah,
to that degree. It's
Yeah,
all
yeah.
like,
very.
you better not
individual.
do it or we're going to fucking punish you from the state. And it's like, all right, well, if that's the only thing that's going to prevent it, then 5 out of 5. 2.5 out of 5 to average the two.
yeah, the average
Sorry.
of the 2.
I agree with all the bad stuff that you're implying, that like there's now an economic ecosystem that's like based on just sucking money out of people based on
Yeah.
this thing.
Yeah.
There's also just the fact that, like, listen, like, I don't think drunk driving's good. I'll repeat it again. But I think that I've been in situations where I've driven drunk, and I'll tell you, like, I was more competent at that point than a lot of people I know that drive sober, including elderly people who, like, start getting older.
Yeah.
But that doesn't overcome the benefit of, like, we can't have drunk people driving and killing people. So, you can't read our minds, so we just say no drunk driving. It's
Yeah.
worth it.
Wait, so where do you stand? What's your rating?
Yeah, 5 out of 5. I agree with the criticisms,
Yeah.
but it's just obvious that all those things are like, we're not gonna have a perfect world where we just know if you're safe to drive or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we just gotta fucking scare you. I mean, checkpoints too, because if you've got an event where a bunch of people are gonna be driving drunk, you just need that to scare people.
Yeah.
That's surprisingly democratic of you.
Yeah, that's.
I
didn't
agree.
expect that.
That's a real
I'm like
Kamala Harris type.
I'll rate it a 1 because you're right. It can be dangerous. I think the limit is way too low. It's ridiculous.
The limit for what?
The 0.08.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
The breathalyzer limit I think is way too low because that's not drunk for most people.
You know what you should be able to do? Go to like a government-run thing where they test your competency. Like you can pay for it even, but like
Yeah.
we're gonna test, and if at like 3 beers deep, we recognize that like you're actually like above average competency, we give you a card that says
Yeah.
like you can have this level.
Everybody
now
gets a
when you're
number.
drunk.
yeah, like I'm a class C, so I can have a 0.14.
Right. Whereas this like 90-pound like
Yeah.
chick is like, sorry, you can't have a shot and then drive.
And I think the penalties for drunk driving are way too high. If you hit something or someone, that's a different story. But if you're literally just driving, obeying all laws, and you get to a checkpoint and you blow over the limit, I think it's bullshit. I think the cops should have to work to catch you, not just not just try to get you. You know what I mean?
It's got to be enough that there's some incentive for you not to do it.
You want them to earn their
I
salary.
want them to fucking earn themselves.
I don't want to make my crimes too
35,000 a
obvious.
year.
Yeah.
Well, because you could. I mean, and that's still too much.
You want to be like the Riddler of DUIs?
No,
You'll never get me, Batman.
No, but it's just like, well, because now there's so many. The police and the state have taken it so far that they can pull you over for any reason at all and be like, you were swerving. And I'll be like, prove it. And they're like, we don't have to.
Oh.
You know what I mean? So it doesn't matter if you're. They have an in because of DUI laws. A cop has an in for no reason now.
Right.
And because before it would be like, okay, you have a taillight out, that's our in. Or you took that turn too wide. You had to do something. Now they don't need it. They're like, oh, you swerved in between lanes?
Yeah, they're gonna exploit
Like,
it,
what the
of
fuck
course.
you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fuck you. Like it is a revenue maker for the state, and I don't like that. It's because it's more it's more about making money than public safety.
Right.
So 1 out of 5.
And so it literally it's like it ruins people's lives.
Yeah.
But
did
so
you
then
see
10 grand to the fucking goes to the state.
Right. I think they should just limit if you didn't do anything wrong and they're not. It's just at a checkpoint. It should be just enough to reduce the amount of people that are likely to drive drunk.
Well, it was like back in the day, cops
It shouldn't ruin
were
your
allowed
life.
to be humans, right? They could be like, I can tell you're not drunk. I can tell you're not that drunk. Go home. Please be safe.
Did you?
Or pull your car over and get a cab.
But that same thing allows them to maybe kick the shit out of you.
I mean, yeah.
The
Did
fact
you-
that you just give
Did
them
you
a
guys
lot
see
of-
the movie Shot Caller?
No.
No.
You should watch it. It's
Shot
on
Caller,
Netflix.
Yeah.
It's fucking great because Jamie Lannister is like a rich, successful,
Like stockbroker, banker, right?
white guy, who has a little bit too much wine at dinner, gets a DUI where he kills his friend on accident.
Oh, I did see that.
and then
movie.
spirals into becoming the leader of a white supremacy gang.
Which is
What?
insane.
Look where DUIs can take you.
No, it's,
Is it a movie or a
It's a movie.
documentary?
It's a movie.
Oh, okay.
and
Jamie
I-
Lannister from
Yeah,
House of-
yeah.
from
Uh,
Game of
I don't
Thrones.
so to come full circle, I'm so glad you brought that up because I have seen it when I
Yeah.
was at the ranch with that girl.
Oh,
She
yeah.
was there, and we were watching that fucking movie. And the very last, you guys don't care if I spoil it, right? Very last scene when Jamie Lannister fights the leader of the Aryan Brotherhood,
Who's the
Yeah.
guy from Mindhunter?
who's the guy from
Who used-
Mindhunter.
Who used to come to my liquor store.
Oh hell yeah! So they're in like ultimate maximum security prison. Like their yard time, they're in individual cells. It like doesn't get higher level of prison, right?
Yeah.
And so in that scene, the whole thing happens where they end up fighting, and Jamie Lannister kills the head of the Aryan Brotherhood in all prison. And that little girl goes, This movie just reminded me of what my life used to be like.
Jesus.
She sounds.
What
I
a
hope you
funny
guys keep
thing
in
to
touch.
just create as your story.
Yeah.
I hope you guys
I'm gonna
keep
get
write letters to each other.
Yeah, I was a bad murderer.
Yeah.
I was really bad at murdering.
So, where do you rank DUIs? having
I'm
experienced
unclear
it?
about how to rank. Should
That's
I rank
perfect.
it based
There's
on how
completely-
good
that
or how
helps.
There's
bad?
no sense.
You can
to
sound
any
it
of
out
these.
out loud. That's what I do every
I kind of
week.
want to give it a 1 due to my own sense of shame
You
around
can give it a 0. You can say fuck
it.
that
Yeah,
shit.
I fuck that DUI. I did it wrong. It was predicated by doing it by having that feeling where I was like, I'm pretty good at this a lot of the time, and then it gave me a sense of unfounded confidence that led to me doing something really stupid, and so I give it a 1.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's
I'm
very proud.
I'm really happy you didn't get hurt or hurt anyone.
Me too.
And thank you for sharing your
And
story
I drove
with
that
us.
car here tonight.
The same car?
Yeah.
Same car.
It's doing
And
great.
that cop is now my wife.
God damn. This is fun.
That was good. Tell
Super fun.
tell them where they can find all your stuff.
MikeRowland.com, MichaelRowlandComedy.com.
You got both?
Watch your
Yeah,
shit.
pop up.
Your shit's on YouTube now, right? From Comedy Central.
Yeah,
Those
yeah,
are good
yeah,
sets.
yeah.
Yeah, watch
Yeah.
your shit on YouTube. It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
Very
I
funny.
think that's under Michael Rowland. I've decided to make the switch to Mike because it's easier. But never
Jesus,
mind.
I've
I
lived,
got you.
I've lived with Boris Hyken with a K in the front, and you can't handle Michael Rowland.
You can't handle Michael. No, I really for a long time I was thinking about just being just Jericho,
That's that's kind
If
of
I was
cool.
black, I
Yeah.
would have already been just Jericho the whole time. But white guy with one name feels weird.
Jericho's a wrestler though too, right?
Well, Chris Jericho. It was
Oh,
his
it's
last
Chris
name.
Jericho. Yeah,
Yeah.
he could have just been Jericho.
If I was smart, I would have started off with wearing nothing but overalls and called myself Big Hump. Like,
Not
That
too
would've
late.
caught, dude.
you know what?
It's
It might be
not too
time for a
late, bro.
rebrand. Fucking Tom
Dude.
Brady went to Tom to Car. I could
I
go
think
to
that's the
fucking-
greatest
Larry
thing
the
I've
Cable
heard.
Guy was Dan Whitney for a long time.
That's
before
true.
Right.
Before he donned
Yeah.
the hat in the sleeveless denim jacket.
Dude, you know what? I'm gonna call Dusty
That's so
after this
funny.
and be like, "Hey, you got a new opener." His name is Big Hump.
Bushwick.